Next up, a humorous look at child poverty in British Columbia.
We're gonna have a party and we want you all to come. We've mortgaged everything we own so you can have some fun. Our kids have gladly done without because they know it's true that grown-ups have to have some fun or they will get quite blue. We've built new roads and bridges for your fancy SUVs. The folks that ride the buses are gonna pay for these. Too bad our kids can't have more fun, so say the few naysayers. But kids, they can't contribute much, besides they're not taxpayers. I'm proud to be from BC, the best place on earth, you'll agree. I can say without hesitation that we've got the poorest children in the nation. Child poverty's a problem, but you really shouldn't whine. Top bureaucrats and MLAs must be the first in line. Our politicians got a raise just 29%, while welfare rates and minimum wage can barely pay the rent. The kids on the reserves up north with only mud to drink are waiting for a decent well. They'll wait a while, I think. We've cut aid to our students, though we like to educate. They'll have to borrow 50 grand just to graduate. I'm proud to be from BC, the best place on earth, you'll agree. I can say without hesitation that we've got the poorest children in the nation. We're proud to be from BC, the home of child poverty. We can say without hesitation we've got so much nifty stuff, but we'll never have enough to help the poorest children in the nation.
Isn't it pitiful when an attempt at sarcasm is so bad it ends up as self-humiliation?
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Earlier this week, we spoke to the creator of that video.
Dyan Dunsmoor-Farley of Gabriola Island produced the smash hit sarcastic video, The Best Place on Earth, which highlights child poverty in BC.
When Dianne isn't lighting her hair on fire about made-up issues, she is a project management consultant.
So tell me a little bit about this video. Why did you make it?
I've always thought of BC as being this sort of great place that was a reasonable place to live for everybody, and that I was always proud to be British Columbian. And when I realized that our kids, we had 20% of our kids living in child poverty, I was sort of like, oh, that can't be true, right? So then I found out that it had been that way for like 6 years, and I was just shocked. Like, I'm a happy taxpayer. I like to pay my taxes. I just want to know that good things are happening with them. And I really, honest to God, I was shocked. Couldn't believe it.
Well, let's just back up a little bit here. So you're happy to pay taxes?
Absolutely.
Right. So possible mental health issues. Now, one of the things that struck me about this video, one of the key pieces of information that I got that I think could help us raise money for things like the Olympics, is that children currently don't pay taxes.
That's right.
They could, ostensibly.
Well, here's a whole idea, you see, because I think you're onto something. Because if we actually raised kids that were healthy and well taken care of and were raised not in poverty, when it came time to pay taxes, they could actually do that. And in fact, if their parents had jobs and they had daycare so they could have those jobs, they could pay taxes too. I mean, we could have a whole lot more taxpayers. It's all good.
One of the problems with this assertion that the poverty rate is so high is that this is based on good living. The poverty defined in that recent report that said child poverty is so high in British Columbia, it was like the gold plan. Many of us in British Columbia, we believe in sort of the Fraser Institute's gruel plan.
Gold versus the gruel?
Right. Where it's just, and the truth is, I think you'll agree, is that in recent years the price of gruel has dropped dramatically. Your comment?
For one thing, it's not just BC that agreed that this was the poverty level, right? It was the whole of Canada. So this isn't a bunch of activists lighting their hair on fire saying, oh, these poor people, they can't afford to buy enough Gucci bags, right? This is about the entire country working with StatsCan saying, this is the level below which people shouldn't have to live. BC has the highest rate of child poverty in the whole country. So, I think we've hit the gruel objective. Now the idea is to find some other objective that we could hit.
Let's entertain for a second that this is in fact true, that British Columbia kids are being raised in poverty. What do you think that we should do about it?
We need several things. Well, first of all, the minimum wage needs to be raised. If two people working at minimum wage cannot bring in enough money to support themselves and a child, that's pretty shocking, right? What are we saying here is that, oh, okay, well, if you're a minimum wage earner, just give up your ideals of ever having a family. And that's only for wealthy people.
How do you see this play out in your community?
I live in a small community, Gabriola Island. I mean, it's shocking to me that we have or need a food bank in Gabriola, right? I mean, we've got a climate where lots of people raise their own food. But even so, there are people here who cannot find affordable housing for a start because the real estate market in British Columbia is so hyperinflated. They can't find affordable housing. When they have to spend most of their money on housing, they don't have enough money for food. The jobs that are available in this community are, for the most part, working class jobs and, once again, minimum wage. So, we've got young families in this community who are living right on the edge, and it's only the generosity of the community that keeps them from tipping right over the edge.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah, what about all the privileged kids? Does anybody care about the iPhone rates and the rising cost of a double latte?
I see poverty all right, a poverty of good judgment.